Angela, var är vi någonstans nu?
Vi är på Gatwick.
Flygplatskö.
I want to tell you a story. A story that will help you understand something that is very close to my heart. This story started long before I was born, and I know it will continue long after I'm gone. It's therefore not a story about me, but rather a story about what I want to pass over to you. But to be able to tell you this story, I'll have to take you a few years back. No, a little further than that. A time so long ago that neither me or my parents existed. A time where everything was still in classic black and white. It all began with my grandpa, who when he was 17 years old got fed up being a farmer's son and became a sailor. He wanted to sail the 7 seas. Not just this boat, but all the big oceans on earth. Guess what? He did. These days, kids no older than he was work at supermarkets for a while and to save up enough money to go backpacking. But it was kind of different in the 50s. My grandpa's urge to leave the nest and go explore the world made him latch on to the only option that was available to a young man without a lot of money. He had to work his way across the world. In short, my grandpa had got the travel bug. The desire to travel. When my dad was born, it soon became apparent that he too had become infected by the travel bug. The travel bug. Yeah, it's a mysterious little thing. Science is not clear on just how the bug is transmitted, but maybe you get it like a virus through the air, or maybe it's just genetic. Regardless of method, you can feel it just like a little cool but warm breeze trying to push you forward, and like if it's telling you to go. It leaves goosebumps all the way down your spine and up to the back of your neck. It leaves you with the feeling of a hungry heart that is beating a lot stronger and faster when you are on your way towards something new. And this desire doesn't stop. Your heart gets hungrier and it beats faster when you think of what the world and other cultures has to offer and teach you. The inexplicable desire to explore the world. The only treatment is to surrender to its symptoms. You have to feed the beast in order to calm it. The more you feed it, the more you have learned about the world and yourself. In fact, you have learned more than you could possibly have imagined. Dad had a travel bug too, and by the age of 14 he began his exploration of the world, but as this was in the 80s, the mode of transportation was no longer ships, but airplanes. And also my dad worked his way around the world. First as an interpreter to his aging uncle, and later on as an engineer. Traveling on business trips, meeting customers and exploring cultural differences and habits in an attempt to satisfy his never-ending thirst for adventure. So no wonder then that I too became a slave to the travel bug. But obviously I wasn't the only one who got the travel bug. My sister was the first one of us leaving the nest alone. She realized the true meaning behind traveling way before I did, and I will always look up to her and the way she looks at the world, and to the courage that she had to make the decision to move across the Atlantic alone. When I did the same thing 4 years later, it was because she had shown me what 1 year abroad really does to a person. My sister didn't stop traveling after her year abroad in Iowa, USA. After finishing high school, she went backpacking with one of her friends for 7 months in Asia. All the things she felt, saw, and learned on her travels, I know will stay with her forever, and I can't wait to see what else she's going to do next.
1, 2, 3, go!
I've always looked for new places to explore, never wanting my feet to remain firmly planted on the ground. Leaving, just like my sister, to spend a year as an exchange student in a foreign country and becoming a foreigner myself was the greatest and best decision I have ever made, at least so far. Being away from my previous old life that I have made in my home country gave me the opportunity to find out who I am and who I want to be, without even consciously realizing that was what I was doing. Coming to a place where no one knows you and where no one has made up their mind about you helps you realize some parts of your old self existed only because people expected you to be and act a certain way, and not really because of who you truly are on the inside. Coming to a new world makes you experience and fall in love with a string of tiny little things, such as the school spirit that would hang the air like a warm blanket in all the hallways on game day, or those Friday evenings when we would cheer from the student section at our school's football team. Or like those early mornings before wrestling practice when my host sister drove me to school and she would play Lord's CD on her car stereo as the sun was making its way up from just below the horizon. In all these tiny moments, I was just beginning to comprehend what my new life was all about. It felt like I was on the top of the world. We didn't always talk a lot, but it was just such a nice feeling being there together, watching that beautiful and yellow sun continuing to climb up from behind the buildings and up over the rooftops. And just being there, alive, I knew that I wouldn't want to trade that feeling with anything. You can't spend a year in the US without developing a relation with the car rides. It didn't matter where I was going. The destination never felt as important as the journey itself. When I was in the car, I felt like I could sit there forever and just watch the world fly by outside the car window. Someone once said that to master traveling is to master the art of loving every place you have ever been and every place you will ever go. When you have achieved that, the phrase, home is where your heart is, gets a whole other meaning. Because when your heart loves all the places you have ever been and will see, then your home will be everywhere. Wherever you go will be your home. The world is in our hands.
Yes!
It's gonna hurt.
I haven't met you yet to tell you all this, and it will be a few years until I will. But one day, when you grow up, then maybe you'll realize that you got the travel bug as well.